Welcome to Conversations with Courageous Educators. My name's Luke George, and in this episode I'm super excited because I'm talking to a dedicated educator who in her short 4 years career has taken an opportunity to expand and advance her teaching craft. At first, the job was daunting and overwhelming, but through persistence and patience, Sally Mills has settled into a well-organised routine that produces amazing student results. It is Sally's mindset and passion to find a way that I find contagious. I hope you do too, and listen to some of the many things that Sally has done to make sure her students progress and become powerful people. Welcome, Sally Mills. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Very excited today. Now, only 4 years out, and you just, and those 4 years have been at Neerigen Brook Primary School, of which we've had your principal, Leslie Barrett, has been part of that. And I'm just interested, just paint the scene of what Neerigen Brook looks like, where it's at, so that our listeners can have a bit of an understanding.
Well, we've come a long way in the past 4 years. We have brought a lot of consistency into our school and a lot of high expectations into our school. Although we have quite a large student staff turnover, I feel like we are a big team at Neerigen Brook, and we are all here for the right things for these students. Just try and give them the best start in life.
Unreal. I noticed when I was in the staff room, actually, you've got a picture of every staff member, and underneath every staff member's photo, it's actually got like what their purpose is and what their mission is, and every one of those are pretty well all directed to the student progress and giving the best for the students. I suppose that's how you can say that your whole team is very focused on the end goal. That must feel very inspiring each day you come to school.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in the teaching world, if you're not in it for the better of the children and bettering your students, then why are you in education?
Oh, good question. Which draws us to the next question. So what drew you to a career in education? How did you actually arrive at this space?
I think it all comes back to my pre-primary teacher. Her name was Mrs. Chene.
Oh, lovely.
She was an exchange teacher from Canada, so it was her very first class and her only class in Australia. And she was just fun and inspirational, and she played with us and she taught us so many things, and she's always been in that back of my head, and she's still someone who I talk to now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So was it pre-primary teacher, do you say?
Pre-primary,
So pre-primary, like, it's just your first entry into school, and this exchange teacher that you still speak to today.
Yep, got her on Facebook, and we check in every now and again. I ask her advice of different activities I can do, and her and my mum still talk to each other as well. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That is inspiring.
That's how many years on? That's 26 years on, and we still talk.
Wow! Is she still teaching?
No, she's retired now.
But I bet you she still loves talking about education where you're at.
Loving her life in Canada.
Oh right. Do you think you'll ever get to visit her?
I hope so. I hope I get to see her again one day and see.
Wow.
See how I.
So it was only a year that you, because did she start at one class and then she was gone?
Yeah,
but it was that powerful.
Yeah, she was great.
I reckon that's one of the most amazing things of teaching, isn't it? That as educators, you give away some information, you don't know where it will land, and yet 5 years, 10 years, 12 years later, someone will come back and say, "Hey, I remember you.
Yeah.
You know, you were that inspiration." So that's very it's a very nice entry into education. So you saw this this ability to change and have fun. Is that from that point did you say, "I'm going to be an educator, a teacher"? So was that your goal, or is it just that you can remember back to how much fun that was?
No, that was definitely I'm the youngest in my family. And so I never really had anyone to teach per se. So that was a big driving factor as well, that I wanted to look after somebody and teach them the things that I knew. And Mrs. Shakira, I wanted to be like her.
Oh,
And
But it's been hard for the other teachers throughout the rest of your career because you're just looking at that going, you're not as good as Miss Shane, you're never good as Miss Shane. I'll give you about a 4 out of 10 because against the Miss Shane
fun.
Now, one of the interesting about you're quite a goal setter, yeah, and you put yourself, you set yourself, I suppose, tasks on a day-by-day basis, and you love a list. Tell us about your lists.
My to-do list, I have multiple to-do lists. I have my ones that needs to be done that day, and then I have my weekly to-do lists. I have my just normal life to-do list as well.
Yeah.
It's just, I like seeing everything mapped out in an order of how I need to do things.
Yeah. What happens if you don't get those things ticked off?
Oh, it's very hard.
Very hard?
Yeah.
Is it a sleepless night sort of hard, or is it like, where am I going to do that sort of hard?
Pretty much. It's like, where am I going to move something else on another to-do list just so I can fit that one in? But I always also have the mindset that if I didn't get it done that day, then it mustn't have been that high on my list of things to do, or something else got in the way. But
are these all actions toward goals? Do you set yourself quite long-term goals as well?
Yeah, so I have my short-term goals and I have my long-term goals.
I'm always interested about people doing goals. Is that something that are you January 1 person that sets for the year, or is it just okay, here's my next thought, and it doesn't matter what day it is of the year, you will still just put something in place just as it comes to light?
Pretty much as it comes to light, yeah.
Okay. Is that like a day's worth of work where you map it all out, or
it's a Sunday afternoon? Map out what I want to do next.
Oh, that's fantastic. And talking about Sunday afternoons, is that a time that you spend looking at your week coming into education?
Of an evening, yeah. I don't have as much free time with two little boys, but I always try and set aside that little bit after they've gone to bed, before I go to bed, just to sort of look at my week ahead and find out what it is that I need to do that week. Yeah.
Okay. So it's about getting yourself sorted.
Yeah.
Now, one of the big things that you, besides your goals, which is a fantastic to put in place, but you also, in your 4 years, you're also someone that says yes to opportunity. Yeah. And so am I correct in saying within about 18 months you'd already said yes to being a team leader?
6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, that's pretty short. So let me just get this picture. You're a graduate, you're in your teaching mode. What class did you have at that stage?
I had a year 1-2 class.
Yeah, the year 1-2 class, and the opportunity came across to be a team leader for your group. And most people would say, "Oh, I don't think I'm ready yet." What was it for you, Sally, that you just thought, "Yeah, I'll give it a crack. I'm ready," or did you just dive in? What was your sort of attitude?
I had a really good mentor teacher, Shakira, who was quite young, like me. She was sort of because I was a little bit apprehensive at first to do it because I was only 6 months in. But she just pushed me to do it, and she thought it would be great, and it ended up being great for me. It kick-started this leadership journey for me.
Right. And is it having that support, did you find, is if you got support, you'll take on that opportunity?
I think when I was first starting, yeah, because I hadn't really had my feet planted enough to really go for it myself, but just having someone there to give me that little bit of a push and to see myself as a leader rather than just seeing myself as a teacher.
Right. But has leadership been something you've always thought about too? Or has that just sort of come on the radar?
It's only just come on the radar. That was the first little thing that just kick-started it. It was as soon as I had that little job, I just wanted to keep doing more leadership and more.
Are we going back to your pre-primary experience where it's about wanting to give your skill set information across, whether it's young people, whether it's peers, whether it's anyone around you, you just feel, well, you could better other people through your knowledge?
Yeah, and I mean, I want to be able to support people how Shakira supported me.
Mm.
Because the first 6 months they were hard.
I bet you're there.
And I didn't really know what it was that I was doing, but having that mentor there made me want to be a mentor to other people as well.
You can see the benefit. Now, I'm just thinking about that is not only are you giving the information out, but you're also happy to take information in.
Yeah.
So would I be right in saying, are you a reflective person with your feedback that you get, and are you happy to take feedback?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to grow any further if I don't take that feedback and apply it to what I'm already doing. Because if I see that feedback and I just go, oh no, and they're just saying their own opinion, I don't need to take it. I'm not really growing as a person.
Right, which is another one of your goals.
Absolutely.
You like to grow.
Yes, I do like to grow.
so that's like a daily thing that we need to do. All right. So, would that be advice that you give if someone's? It doesn't matter whether they've been in first year, second year, or third year. Is that like advice to others saying, take the opportunity, however, make sure you've got support behind you? Is that a pretty important thing for you? That'd be right.
Absolutely, yeah. Take any opportunities you can, because if we just stay stagnant, we're not going to grow. And the world of education is ever growing. It's constantly changing. I mean, even from when I was in pre-primary, things have changed.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If you're not changing your practice, then, we have to be able to grow. If we're expecting children to be able to grow, then we need to grow ourselves. And I think taking any opportunity you can is going to help you to grow. And having that support network.
And it's a support network.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think there's a few times where people take on an opportunity, but they unfortunately didn't get that they thought or didn't consider the need for someone to be around them. And that's pretty important. So taking the opportunity is one thing, but also making sure you're going to have someone that's going to allow you to grow in that space.
Yeah.
Because then it must get pretty overwhelming if you don't have that Shakira's or Miss Chene's behind you, because then you're out there by yourself, still scrambling.
And even if it's not someone in the same education field as you, even if it's just a friend who can tell you, no, you're going to do this and you can do it. It's just having somebody that can give you support.
Yeah, very cool. Now, talking about growth and moving and where you went to next, literally a few years later into your career, another opportunity came up, and this was working at the Centre of Excellence initiative. But just tell us about what the Centre of Excellence is all about and what your experience is so far been with it. So a bit of a description first.
It's the explicit teaching of literacy. So it's the initiative that came out of the quality teaching strategy that the department brought out. And we had lead schools. So there was 5 lead schools, and then all those lead schools had they had intern schools applied to them. So it was all about observations and learning, and then they would come out and observe us and all of those sorts of things. And I've loved it. If I could continue on with my internship, I would.
All right. But you can't be greedy, because other people want to have to do it too. So the Centre of Excellence has been set up using 5 particular schools as the example.
Yes.
I suppose as like the university of Centre of Excellence, but also about explicit teaching of literacy.
Yeah.
Right. So the interns go to this Centre of Excellence school to see it in action.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the first thing that you can see there is on your very first day, etc., you would have seen a teacher doing explicit teaching.
Yes.
In their classroom with children.
Yep.
Yep. How was that when you first saw it? Was it a bit surprised?
It was incredible. It was incredible. The students just knew exactly what to do, and it was the pace and the rigour of it all. It was just really incredible to watch. Yeah.
And is that daunting?
A little bit.
Because it's like, whoa, this is pretty out there. I mean, all of a sudden, it's pretty, like you said, the rigor's on, it's paced. I'd find that I'll just go back and do what I normally do. Is that an option?
No, it wasn't an option. I mean, it wasn't an option for me. I think I saw it and it was immediately, I want to do this.
Yeah, yeah. So you have that word about want to.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to do it
Yeah.
rather than have to do it. So the school isn't saying you have to do it. Really what you need is people that want to do it.
Yeah,
and if you get inspired, there's buy-in. And I'd say going back to your original goal is it's about improving children.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it as an opportunity to see, wow, that's going to really help our children with their literacy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were a very low literacy school. We had students coming in that were 2 years behind what they should have been. So seeing that, it was, oh my goodness, we could do this. We could help them, and this could better them.
Now, of course, there might be some of our listeners saying, well, it was most probably a leafy green school, or it wouldn't work in my school because, we have a lot of problems and issues. But I would say that your argument for that is, well, no, it works for pretty well any student. Why do you think that is?
Because they have the expectations and they have that clear routine. It's the same thing over and over and over again, so they don't have to think what's going to come next. And if you're thinking about a school that might have students that have come from those difficult backgrounds, them knowing what is going to come next is beneficial for them. They know what's going to happen. They know what their day is meant to look like. It's that consistency, that expectation, the routines that are set in place. So it can work for anyone.
You mentioned some really good words there. Routine. And when I hear routine, I also think of the boundaries. And it's very explicit using the word. But also I see it, if I'm doing it in year one and then I go into year two, I see it again. Yeah, I see it again. Now I'm starting to think, well, gosh, that'd be pretty boring. I mean, the same routine from one year to the next. I mean, where's children's creativity?
Well, they still have that time for creativity, but it's about them knowing what is going to happen next. I mean, adults, we thrive on routine. We know that we have to get up in the morning at a certain time. We need to eat. We have to go to work. So we know that, and it works for us. And our frontal lobe's developed. Yeah. Theirs isn't. So it works for them because they know what to expect.
Right. And I suppose it's based on that I do, you do, we do.
Yes.
Is that the you do and the we do? There's a bit of creativity in there.
Yeah, definitely. That's when the creativity gets to come out as well.
Oh.
So we have the explicit teaching where it is all the same, and then when you get to you do, they do have the chance to be a little bit more creative. Yeah.
And of course we're talking about in the literacy part, these are the literacy blocks. Of course, when we go into our creative writing, of course, that's where we're going to be creative.
Absolutely.
So this is about getting the basics of literacy, so we can command that English language and then apply it and implement it at a later stage. And I think that's what you were commenting about, having students might be 2 years behind.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, we're trying to get them to where they should be. And we can't, the way that we were doing it before we started the Centre of Excellence, the data wasn't showing that we were doing that. We weren't supporting them in closing that 2-year gap. Whereas now, with what we have been doing, we are closing the gap, and the data's showing it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Absolutely. So tell us about the, let's talk a bit about the data. You've actually done a bit of an exercise over a 6-month period. Was that correct? Tell us about that, about where we were and where you now are. Just explain it. What data was used to be able to show that you're moving it forward? Well,
we implemented the use of initial lit for our younger years and spelling mastery for our upper years. So we have the data that's showing from that if we look at initial lit, we have the reds and the oranges and the greens. And the majority of our students are hitting the greens now, whereas before they weren't. And that was when we were using a different program that wasn't being taught with fidelity. Whereas now that we're using explicit teaching and there's a big push on using fidelity and teaching with fidelity, we're seeing that data change. And even our NAPLAN scores, I can't tell you much about them because I don't teach NAPLAN, but I know that our NAPLAN scores are showing that we're up there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Wow, 6 months and we're already seeing something. And education is based on the traffic light system, yellow, green, red. And I suppose it's easy to understand that. But when we start seeing less red, even slightly a bit more orange, but a bit more glowing green, it is showing something's happening. And you use the word fidelity. And I believe that's what explicit teaching is. It's about being fidelity, isn't it? Like you're just going to nail it each time.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't stray from the path. And I mean, some people might think it's a little bit robotic with the way you have to teach it, but it's explicit and it's how they are best going to be able to learn is by teaching explicitly.
What would a lesson look like, Sally? When can you give us a bit of a broad outline of how a lesson works?
Well, if we're talking from initially, there's lots and lots of back and forth. So we say something, students say something, and so forth and so forth. There's lots of chants. It's very quick paced, and it will generally start with our I do. So we will model something, then we'll give it a go with the students, and then it's their turn to go and apply what they've just learned independently.
Yeah, and you're using little whiteboards, writing things down. We're showing each other.
Yeah, and we have the same chants all the way down from kindy all the way up to year 6. So Chene, Bennett, Parkett, read with me, track with me. We use the same chants all the way through the school.
Yeah. And that's what gets us consistency. And for some little people where they don't have consistency or have order or routine in their life, sounds like they might be attracted to that. Yeah,
I mean, you see it when we have a relief teacher and the relief teacher does something just that little bit different. They will tell the relief teacher that they're doing it different.
Yeah.
They say, no, we don't do it that way.
No.
This is the way we do it.
Yeah.
So they've become their own little teachers when their regular teacher isn't there.
Yeah. I was just thinking that, again, I've got a lot of behaviour problems in my classroom, so there's no way they're going to be sitting there and listening and sitting. And so, what have you found?
I found there was no chance for them to not be doing what they should have been doing because it was engaging, but also the pace was there. So there was constant back and forth that they didn't really have any time to be able to dawdle or look around and off to the fairies because it was quick and it was fast. And
so I'm hearing engagement there.
Yes.
Yeah. And have you found that? Have you found your students that can be a little bit more
tricky?
Are we seeing that trickiness now for them being more part of the classroom?
Yeah, we actually had a look at our behavioural referrals from when we first started. No, from before we started Centre of Excellence to when we were about 2 months in. And the amount of behavioural referrals that we had went down significantly. And that was just in one class. We saw the behaviour go down.
Yeah, wow. So you're hitting behaviour, your academics up. It's sounding, I mean, but it's not without its problems.
No,
it's like anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
But overall, we're certainly seeing we're moving from our reds and getting more students in the greens, which is exactly what we want. Now you're a pre-primary at the moment.
Yes. Pre-primary.
So even at pre-primary, we are getting that engagement. How is it in the rest of the school? Because you started off not the whole school doing it. There was a couple of you, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was only 3 of us from the start. And we started it. We implemented it in our own classrooms, and then we slowly started to push it out to the rest of the school.
How did the other 2 teachers go? Were they finding the same sort of success that you were having?
Yeah, and one of them's still here, and he's still using the same. I mean, we all are, but he still uses it, and unfortunately one of our other interns left the school, but I know she's using it at her new school too.
Well, which is good.
Yeah.
You take the talent away and start
afresh
and start implementing somewhere else. What have the other teachers, Rob? How's Rob handling it, doing it the second year in? Is he same excited as yourself?
Yeah, and it gets easier the more that you do it and the more that you get into that routine as well. It starts becoming just like riding a bike, second nature. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a while. He's off on a jet-setting holiday, and but no, I think it gets easier the more that you do it, and you're able to branch it out not just in literacy, but maths and all your other subject areas too.
What about planning? Is it more planning, less planning, or the same planning that you would have done anyway, and you can actually start rolling that through? What's
there was
planning
more
like?
planning at the start of it because we had to rejig our whole scope and sequences for everything, and we had to make the daily review slides and all of that. So more planning at the start, but now we've got them. We've got that bank of scope and sequences. We've got the bank of PowerPoints. So it's made it a little easier for everyone now.
Could you see that moving forward, that all of those resources and the way that we teach can just be, and it's not that we'll just completely do the same again because we have different little people, but at least you've got a library that we don't have to keep inventing every day.
Yeah,
and say, this one will work, slightly modify it, but is that?
Yeah, it's become a lot easier because I know that all the year one things that I had from last year, the year one teachers this year are using them. So they've got it all there. They knew what they had to start the year with, and it was all there. And now they can modify it and change it to suit their classroom. But it just sort of took that little bit of pressure off, especially at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And everything's a bit crazy.
Absolutely. So how did you expand that into the rest of the school? Like from 3 to more? How did that look?
Well, we started with our phase of learning teams. So I invited the other year one teacher to come in and observe what I was doing. Gave her a little bit of pointers of things she could implement in her class, and then I would go and observe her. And I know that happened the same with Rob and Maddie as well. We just started small, and then we slowly started to branch ourselves out.
Much, was it receptive? Were people receptive to it? Or is it like anything where you've got to change?
I think it's like anything. I mean, as adults, I think a lot of us don't like change because we are so used to what we want and what we used to. There was a little bit of pushback, but I think the majority of the teachers here, we just wanted... I think they got excited as well, just like we had, because we put on a few PLs where we showed what we were doing in our classrooms.
Yeah.
And actually ran little lessons on our PLs. So I think that got people excited as well of what it could look like.
Yeah. You've spoken before about the slow release. Is it just an incremental situation rather than just, okay, the whole school, we're all doing, our expectations are here. We just slow release, letting people experience.
Yeah, we started with daily reviews first and engagement norms. So that's how that was the very first step, was everyone had to work on these daily reviews and work on applying these engagement norms in their classroom. And then we moved on to the reading and then the writing. Writing was our very last one that we did.
Right. So it's only just this year that the whole school's really starting to take it on board. We're now into the start of second term. The feel is, you've got pretty well everybody, all the teachers are in.
Yeah. I think we're all bought in, we know, and I think the teachers that have been here from the start of the journey, we've seen those benefits, and it's easy for us to say, it works.
Yeah.
We know it works. So now it's sort of just, we were able to convince those ones that were new to the school as well. Yeah.
I suppose a question that comes to mind is everybody else having a reduction on behaviour and an increase in academics? Not that you would have necessarily, after one term, wouldn't have been the academic, but what about the behaviour? Because that's pretty well something we can see straight away. Are they commenting on
Yeah, they can see the change as well, and I think especially the upper years, because they've been implementing the explicit direction for 2 years, they can see the change in the students when they first come into the classroom, because they know that they're going to be doing the same sort of thing in that classroom anyway. So the behaviours are less, and you don't hear as much happening around the school anymore. It's very quiet now.
It is, I make a comment about that to the receptionist when I came in. I said, "Well, it's quiet, and it's not. It's like there's learning going on.
Yeah.
And I know that Leslie Barrett just loves it when they're learning, and that's the game that we're in.
Yeah, it's great when you walk past classrooms and you can hear the chanting happening and the back and forth happening. It's great.
Oh gosh, it must be like. That must feel like, as evidence, we are learning.
Yeah,
because they're calling it out. There's action
it.
happening. Yeah, we're doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And then on the reverse of that is that classic old school, pardon the pun, about when we're all silent, we must be learning. And you sort of think about that and go, well, no, when we're silent, I'm actually silent. My brain might be thinking, we want to get some action happening. That's it. So whereabouts would you recommend this method of teaching to anyone?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. No matter what my reluctance would be, you would be able to say, well, we can get around that.
Yes, definitely. I don't see myself ever going back to the way that I was teaching because I can see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
And I have seen the benefits of it.
Because you were with other schools, because you've seen other schools as well. Would that be right? Or,
yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is the same feedback from them as well? Are they having same sort of success? Because with your other interns at other schools, are they sound similar?
Yeah. I had a few people from Craigie Heights Primary School that I had been talking to, and they were seeing the same sort of thing, which was great. And they were in the same intern group that we were. They were with the same centre school, so we had this little journey together. So
yeah, well, that's very cool.
Yeah,
and it is growing. It's I remember when I very first saw it with David Bonstall, who's the sort of brainchild behind it, through John Hattie, etc. And I thought, yeah, that would work because it's just takes out all the
fluff,
doesn't it? I don't have to think of all these wacky things, but you still have to have the energy, and we do like energy when we teach.
Yes, absolutely. You can't be sitting down.
No.
You can't sit down. We have to be permanently on our feet doing it.
Yeah. What I've noticed in other schools doing explicit teaching is also the camaraderie of the team coming together, because then you really help with each other's plannings. Because basically you're taking those resources and saying, right, here's the method, like this is the resource, but here's the way. You already know the way. It's I do, we do, you do. And just basically different information, but same methodology.
Yeah, I mean, we all share the same, all of our PowerPoints look exactly the same because we share the same skeleton PowerPoint, and then we just add on whatever. I mean, pre-primaries aren't going to be doing what the year sixes are doing, but it's the same format of that PowerPoint, which also helps with consistency. Yeah,
and also planning. When you think about it, like it's not taking away the creativity, and I sort of expressed that we never want to lose the creativity of a teacher. However, that can still be that's in your writing and in your art and all of those. So there's creativity there. But isn't it beautiful that the students have a basis to be able to say, well, actually, I do know my phonics, because I've got my phonics. That means I can read the text to be able to read the instruction to be able to do the work.
Yeah. And you can still bring in your own flair as a teacher. You still have your own, little teacher quirks that you do. You just use the same format and the same way of teaching. It's just you just put in a little bit of oomph.
Bit of oomph.
Your own oomph.
What's you're given some great passion behind your education. What your father had a bit of an influence on you as well in a very positive way. What was your dad? What was he talking about as you were growing up in that sense?
My dad had 4 degrees. Unfortunately, now he has dementia, so he's lost a little bit of his wit.
Yeah.
But he still has it there. But I grew up with him not pushing me, encouraging me to continue learning always.
Yeah.
Dad liked to learn a new word every day.
Wow.
So he'd just find out a random word, learn all about it, and try and use it in a sentence. So he was always the person who was encouraging me to keep going and to keep learning.
Yeah. Is that sort of sense that it's like a opportunity comes up, that's a new word, go and learn that.
Yeah.
Another opportunity, new word, go and have a look
Absolutely,
into that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it, find out about it, be curious.
Yeah, curious was definitely something Dad wanted me to be. He wanted me to not just go, oh, that's, take things as somebody's told me to do it, but to also try and work out how could I do it instead of always following what somebody else wants me to do. Be curious about what you like, how you are as a person.
Absolutely. Are there any we've had Miss Chene?
Yes.
We've had Shakira?
Yes.
Your dad?
My dad.
Any other people that have been on your journey so far that's been of influence that you will put up there?
My mum. It's always my mum.
Oh, you got to have a mum there. Fantastic.
My mum she's the type of person that she will tell me as it is. So if I'm complaining about something that day, she'll go, no, we don't complain about those things. And she's very straightforward, my mum, very blunt.
Yeah. Well, you know where you are then, aren't you?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, then you go, okay, cool, right,
yeah,
here we
pretty
go.
much, I know. Oh, I'm being a bit silly about this now.
What do you do for when Sally Mills isn't in the education system? Is there some space where you go? How do you wind down to save yourself from burnout?
I read.
You like a read?
I love a read. I love my Kindle. My Kindle goes with me everywhere. I love a Kindle. And baking.
And baking, like a bake?
Yeah, I love a bake.
Is it any genre of your fiction, non-fiction?
It sounds really bad, but thriller.
You love a thriller?
I love a thriller and horror.
Yeah, oh God.
I know.
I don't know how you go to sleep at night after we go in a horror story.
I
know. What about, what do you think, from your opinion, it's only been in for a few years, I know that, is what stops schools from having success? Because some schools just don't seem to be able to get there. What do you reckon, in your opinion?
I think it goes back to the growth again. That, you should be able to look at your daughter and go, something isn't working. And if you have that mindset and you go, something's not working, but this is how we've always done it. So eventually the kids will just have to get used to it. They're not going to. Because they're not going to grow, and that's where behaviours are going to start. So I think that's what might stop other schools, that they think, we've always done it this way, so why not just keep doing it this way?
Yeah. Is that sort of afraid of the challenge? Afraid of the change? Let's just keep the status quo.
Yeah, and afraid of, things are going to go wrong. There were so many things that we trialed in the very first few weeks of Centre of Excellence, and they didn't work.
Yeah.
And we could have gone, it's too hard. Too hard basket.
Yeah.
We'll just nip it in the bud now. But things are always going to go wrong. Something's not going to work. But you just try again.
Yeah.
And if we're expecting students to keep trying when they need to keep trying, then we should do that as adults and educators.
I always think that there's a great graph of growth, and to get through that ceiling, it's actually putting possibility at the top, and seeing that in your very first example of explicit teaching, you actually saw someone doing it, and you thought, well, that's possible.
Yes,
I've seen it. Now I can do this.
Yeah.
And taking that image, I think, is something that schools, all people, is change. Is saying, could I do that? And it is that persistence and the falling over, etc. That goes with it.
And why can't you do it?
Mm.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, give it a go.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work that time, then regroup, pick yourself up, maybe dust yourself off, have a little cry because that day was really bad. That was a hard day. And then just try again the next day.
Yeah.
And keep trying, and it will work eventually.
I think having the map, but also having the end goal very visual, makes it easy. So you're not working off a theory, something that I've read in a book, a couple of PLs. You've actually seen exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I reckon that's a big piece of why the program works so well.
Absolutely. I mean, go and see your other teachers teaching. Pick up things that they're doing and try it in your classroom. I mean, we want to be learners as well. Trial things. Give it a go.
Oh, fantastic. Give it a go. That's exactly right. You fill your cup through reading. You fill your cup through a bit of baking. And obviously got a beautiful family as well. All action stations there. What would Sally Mills say to someone thinking about becoming an educator? What would you say to them today?
I think if you have the passion, and you know that it is going to be hard work, it's hard. But if you have that passion there, go for it. Because we need better educators in this world. And it's a job that's never going to go away. There's always going to need to be educators in this world.
Yeah.
So just, if you have it, go for it.
If you have it, go for it.
Go for it.
Unreal. There you go, folks. Look, we've beautiful conversation with Sally Mills. So much gold in there about her journey. Only 4 years or so. And just how far she's come. But, just loving that attitude, and I hope we can all take something away from that. So thanks very much, Sally Mills.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Absolute pleasure. Wow. Thank you for listening or viewing the Conversations with Courageous Educators podcast. I hope you take something away that improves the best version of yourself more often. I'm passionate about education and supporting educators in the tough job of nurturing tomorrow's citizens. I follow this passion by delivering staff wellbeing workshops, middle leadership programs, and leadership coaching for educators. If you have 2 minutes and would like to know how mentally fit you are to handle the rigours of teaching, then visit my website, www.by-george.com.au. That was www.by-george.com.au, and complete the 2-minute mental fitness diagnostic, which produces a report that affirms your strengths and challenges your growth opportunities. There is a positive ripple effect when educators are the best version of themselves more often. If you believe this as well and would like to implement the change, then be a courageous educator and contact me for a conversation. My details are in the show notes, or email luke@bygeorge.com.au, and that's by-george.com.au. Continue being courageous. Thank you.